Greetings everyone, I'm Sister Lila, and today I'm going to show you guys how I make some of my stone bases. So I'll probably do a separate tutorial for cobblestone, or I might not. This might actually work as it is. But yes, so I hope you find this tutorial informative, and if you want to see more videos like this or more Warhammer content, why not click subscribe? I'd love to have some more subscribers, because the higher my subscriber count, the more my motivation to make things for you people is. Anyway, enough of me self-plugging, let's get on with the video. So, I have here a plain 28mm base, actually no, 32 or something like that. I've got some green stuff here that I'm just putting down on it that is a roughly 50-50 mix of yellow to green. So I'm just putting some more water on my fingers, not on the base, because green stuff seems to soak the stuff. Otherwise it becomes stuck to your fingers. So I'm just using the flat part of a little hobby scalpel to press it down and make it a bit more flat. Because even though stone and nature is rarely even, I kind of want it to be a little bit flat, so I'm just trimming the edges off here so as to well, make things a bit smoother. Of course, you can always make the base on a flat piece of plastic. So here are the tools I used. I've got a couple of flat pieces, I don't know what to call them, but yeah, I've got curved bits, I've got square bits, a couple of pokers, I've got a little tool with a spike on the end of it, and I think I've got a wire brush tool as well, and I've got the scalpel. So I'm just going to clear the tools out of the way and let's get started. So first up, I'm going to be basically sculpting in some lines on here so as to have things look vaguely uniform, but also I'm making them not entirely uniform at the same time. Pardon my fingers being off the camera, the ratio of my camera is pretty small. So essentially I kind of want it to look like not quite stretch-a-bond pattern, but certainly don't want to have all the lines for the edges of the stone in the same place, but I mean, sometimes that happens as well on roadways. But as you can see, I've got the lines going across like this, and I'm mainly pressing downwards with the blade so as to add in the textures, but I'm also dragging the blade a bit through once I've got enough water on it so as to bring it through and just smoothing down any raised parts that come up. So I'm kind of making it look a bit like there are bricks on there. And if you're doing something similar to this and you end up making things look rather messy, that actually can look better for stone, because as I said, stone's not normally all that uniform, but I wanted this to look not so much uniform, but look relatively like the similar size of bricks had been used most of the way. Because I mean, if you're building a roadway, you tend to try and use the same roughly similar sized materials just to make your life a bit easier and to make repairs a bit easier. Says me who's not really built many stone footpaths before. He sculpted a few, but yeah, also wanted to make sure things weren't all the same thickness so as to have things look a bit more uniform. So I've got mainly squares and a few twisted edges. I've dragged the blade on angles and so on through it so as to catch it. And I know this isn't actually probably the best quality video, partly because of the lighting in my room as I work on this, and I need to set up better lighting for this, but yeah, as you can see how I'm doing it and just kind of bringing it through. Now I did have a reference picture up on my computer screen out of view of just just a stone roadway, medieval looking one. Now I've got an angled tool that I'm using here to just kind of press the edges in a bit and just kind of make it look a little bit angled. So basically the tool is circular around it, and then it has kind of a what's the term? Kind of a triangle-ish split in it. There are names for the edges of these tools and I don't know what they are. So yes. So I'm just kind of poking across it a bit so as to add in a few stone details. Now, a neat trick I saw that you could do, I'm also straightening it out here and there so as to kind of keep the edges a bit, but a neat trick I saw that might work for this that I'm going to experiment with before I actually use it in a video is actually having a rolled up ball of rolled up, what's it called, alfoil, and just rolling it over. Anyway, so I've kind of got it ready, got it partially set there, and I'm just adding in some little indents and nicks into the stones to indicate some wear and tear, because stones used on a roadway are going to get damaged, going to get chipped and damaged, and nature's and the environment is usually pretty rough on stones, so I've got little nicks and burrs that I'm putting in them. So yeah, that's got the little nicks put into it to make it kind of look a bit more natural. And here we have it with the miniature that I'm going to be putting on the base. So this model's going to be counting as montbard for 40k, because I could have actually done something different with that, pardon the clicking in the background there. But basically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to press the model down so as to actually have a spot where his feet stand, so as to actually have a little bit of an indent in the green stuff. The green stuff isn't too soft at this point, but it's still a bit sticky and a little bit soft. As green, so yeah, and then I've got I'm making a little nick for the sword, where I just basically have the sword shoved into the green stuff. Pardon my shoving it off camera there. This is so that I can glue them back in. I can glue both the models down once the models are painted, and once the model and the sword from the model are painted. My attempts to have it on camera don't always work. Like, hopefully that's a bit more visible. But yeah, so yeah, here's the model with the base, and I'll continue onwards. So yeah, with me taking the model off there, now to show you guys how I painted this. Okay, so the base is now primed and just fell in some paint. So I am going to go ahead and add the first layer of paint. Now I've got a brush here that I've kind of wrecked, and it's such, its bristles are a bit hard and they're permanently splayed out like this. So this kind of brush is actually perfect for this job. Just going to damp the brush down. So I've just got an old sheet of paper here, what's it called, paper towel here, that works really well for this. So I'm just going to kind of go over it like this. Now you can easily dry brush it, and I will go back over it later dry brushing it. But the first step here that I'm doing with this to just get it to the base colour I want it is just going over it with, what's this stuff called? Celestra Grey. Now I think it used to be called Administratum Grey. A grey paint in general will work really well for this. So yes, once this is dry, I'll be back and I'll show you how to go from there. Then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now that's dry, one thing I'm going to do is actually grab some, I've also got down some ricotta flesh, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of the grey with some ricotta. So as to just have something a bit different in texture. Maybe a lot of the Celestra. So I just want to highlight some of the stones, but not all of them, because stones are rarely all the same in nature. Like, you won't usually find a lot of things that are identical. So I just want to pick out a few of these and just kind of pick out around it and on top of it to a degree. Okay, so one thing I did just before was actually mix some Mephiston red with some of the Celestra grey to dull down the red a bit. I'll go over it again in a moment with well, I'm about to go over this with a wash, and I'll show you how I do that, and then I'll go over the top of everything again with some more Celestra grey that's just going to be lightly dry brushed on there, and then I'll go back over it again with a wash. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I had another idea for painting. So I've got some P3 Cronus Yellow, and I'm just going to not really add much in because there wouldn't be many yellow stones. I've mixed some of it with some of the remaining Celestra Grey, so as to kind of null it down a bit, or dull it down I think is probably the proper term. But I just want to add a few coloured stones, because as I said, in nature things aren't uniform, they just aren't. And all this is going to get nulled down anyway, or dulled down by the brown wash I'll put over it in a moment. So there we go. So that's like that, and I'll be back. Okay, so because I want to actually make this base look a bit, well, lived in, make it want to actually look like it belongs in the world, one thing I'm going to do is actually put some Caliban green in the recesses, so as to make it look like there's a bit of grass growing in there. Once I actually go over this with a brown wash, it'll null it down a lot and make things look a little less jarring. So yes, pardon the background noise, I suspect I have a visitor. So yes, I have a whole lot of lore for this character, which you may have already heard so far, or you may not have. So yes, once this base is done and I've got the shield made, I'll then get on with doing the painting on the main model. I just kind of wanted to show you how I do some of my more complex bases that are stone based. Okay then, so that's got some green in it. I'll be back in a moment with brown. Okay, so now the paint on that is set, I have a plastic tray. Now this was just a meat tray that I cleaned. So what I'm going to do is essentially just drown this thing in it. I have a brown wash that I have made, just lift the camera up so you can see it, that has been made using, oh, what's the colour called? Umber. I think it's raw umber. Just a regular brown acrylic paint that's deep. So the goal here is essentially, as I said, to drown it. I've applied it like that, and I'm just going to tip it over. Just tipping it over. I'm just going to grab a brush, and because there's a lot of terrain and not much paint, not much wash, just going to need to go over it. And I really should have turned on a second light. I'll be back in a moment and I'll turn on and have a light on. Sorry about the darkness there. So yeah, I'm just, as I said, drown it and then shake it off and let the brown settle on. Now, kind of hoped it'd look better. Oh well, I'll put some black in with some water and make a wash that way. Okay, so I gave the base a probably medium level dry brush of Celestra Grey, which has dulled it back down massively, but still got some colour in the stones, which is good. So now I'm going to paint in all the recesses with the brown mix I've got, and go from there. So and then I'll adjust the stand. So my first game where I used the rules for where I ended up using a character using this model's rules they died the turn I deployed. They died uselessly in a transport as it exploded. So yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? 40k is fun. You might get to murder dozens of heretics, or you might end up dying uselessly. As the very vehicle you ride in explodes. So this is more intended to look like it's had dirty water going between the stones. I'm kind of loosely painting it on there, and the light's now bad because I've kind of got my hand in the way of it. I don't mind a few drips here and there on it either. So one wash technique I'm going to experiment with before I go to use it in a video is spray washing. So using a spray bottle instead of a dripper bottle to actually apply washes. I don't mind getting it on some of the stones, but I don't want it to... Well, actually, if it pulls in sections, that's probably a bit natural. Because water will naturally pool and stain. Speaking of water, it's raining outside. So I know, I've done a lot of work on the base for this model, and hopefully I now have the video for the oh. Okay, so that's got that, and I'll be back once that's dry. Okay, and so here we have the base painted and set up. So it generally looks pretty good. You can see it actually shows the colours that were in it a bit better on camera than it does when just looking at it in person. Now, one thing I'll probably do after this is go around the rim of the base with either black or whatever army colour I'm planning on doing. I might do red around the base or something. So yeah, so that was a more complicated way of just painting brown, grey stone. I did another one which was essentially just grey with brown, with just the brown wash over the top of it for the base of for a temporary base for my commissar, or more, a new base for my commissar before I end up upgrading him, because but yeah, anyway, it's a pretty simple trick to do. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this informative, and like I said at the beginning of the video, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, or feel free to leave suggestions of the types of bases you'd like to see me do on the channel. Okay, bye.